Hey folks, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to teach you the D section of Flowery Girls, and this is where the flowers hit the fan. Let me play it for you. I'll explain everything I can about how to practice it, and then of course at the end, we'll attach it to the A, B, and C sections. All right, here we go. Now, I do want to point something out. Depending on when you got this tab from me, your indication of where the E section starts might be a little bit off. So if you need a new version of the tab, just email me. I will send you the updated one. I have crossed out where I used to have the E section starting, and now the E section, so the one after this, is going to begin at the beginning of measure 46. So what we're working on is measure 28 all the way through the end of measure 45. So just make sure that's what your tab reflects, or like I said, email me and I will refresh your version of the tab. All right, here's everything I want you to think about. So the D section starts with us in 7th position. That means index is on the 7th fret. And we're gonna play these notes. Our fingers are in a diagonal line across strings 3, 2, and 1 at 7, 8, and 9. And the index is gonna lead. And we're just going to switch between in the picking hand, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, just over and over again. And that takes care of the first measure, measure 28. So work on that as much as you need to before going on, because the next thing you're going to do is in measure 29, shift up to 9th position. The second note of 29 is a 9th fret. And the third note is a 10th fret, so that's going to be middle. And then as we get into measure 30, we have a 12 in the pinky. Steve emailed and asked, Matt, are you using your pinky at all? And starting in this section, I really am. Pinky's on 12. And that gets us all the way up to the 9 to 7 pull-off. So far we've got 7th position in measure 28, 9th position in measure 29, and a little bit into 30. And then I'm going to show you one more position area, and then we'll put a little bit together. Then you're going to go for the 9 to 7, you're going to go back to 7th position, and you're going to bar across the 7th fret. This makes a D chord. We're not going to play the whole chord at once, but we are going to arpeggiate, which means play individual notes of the chord. Starting, though, with a pull-off at 9. So that's ring for me, pulling off down to 7. Ring goes over and gets that 9th fret on the 3rd string. And back to 1st string. And then at the end of this little part, middle's on 8, ring's on 9. And here's where I want you to get your phrase pen. I want you to mark the end of the first phrase of the D section halfway through measure 32. So before the last 4 notes, after you've played 9th fret of the 1st and open 5th, I consider this first bit to be one musical phrase. And I want you to practice on it until you can play this first phrase smoothly at any slow tempo. The thing to think about is that you're going between position 7 and then 9 and then back to 7. Here's me doing it with the click, and you can join if you'd like. So I'm going to play this first phrase of the D section with the click. Here I go. Join me if you can. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that one more time and really think about where you're shifting. 1, 2, ready, go. Shift. Shift. Now stop the video and work on that until you can do it, because then it gets crazy. All right, I'm going to assume that you've worked on that first phrase and it's not crazy anymore, that first section, because this next one's going to be nuts. It starts the same way. So we're going to start in 7th position at the end of measure 32 and do the same things we did at the beginning of the D. And then most of the way through measure 33, we go back to 9th position because we have that. All of this feels the same, but then this is where it gets weird. In measure 35, it starts with 14 and 13, and that's going to be, oh my goodness, 12th position. Another way of putting it is that ring finger is going to be on 1st string 14th fret, middle is going to be on 2nd string 13th fret, and index will be on 12. And then you'll notice right at the end of measure 35, there's a 3rd string 14th fret, and we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to do some incremental shifting up the neck now. Middle finger is going to play 3rd string 14th fret at the end of measure 35, so that we can, in measure 36, play pinky on 16, and Steve, there's another pinky, ring on 15, and then we're going to shift again up to 14th position at the end of measure 36 so that you can do index on 14, ring on 16, and then as you start 37, which is one of the most exciting parts of this early portion of the song, you're going to get pinky on 17th fret. So let's try and get that far. I'm going to put the click on, and I'll show you the second phrase all the way up to 37, measure 37. So I'm going to start halfway through 32. There's so much to do. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. All right, shift. A little shift. Shift again. 14, 16, 17. Now, you might not have done that in real time, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to now talk about measure 37 and beyond. So starting in measure 37, I have that 17th fret we talked about in pinky. Ring's going to play 16. Index is going to play 14. And then I don't know if there are any Frozen fans in the audience, or maybe your grandchildren or spouse or whatever liked that movie. I literally wrote into my music, "Let It Go," like that famous song from Frozen, at the end of measure 37, because 38 starts with 12th fret, and in order to get from 14th position back to 12th position, I need to just let go and re-center my hand, barring across the 12th fret for 38. I'm still going to stay in 12th position for 13 and 14, and then 14 and 13. In measure 39, you'll notice what looks like a pinch, 14 on top of 13. It's not, as far as I can tell. I don't have a video of Omer Forrester doing this, but I think it's just an index pluck that rings both strings, 1st and 2nd strings. It's a beautiful sound. Anyway, so try that, not a pinch, just an up brush. And then all of this is still 12th position, 12 to 13. And then at the end of measure 40, we're going to switch to 14th position, and 3rd string 14th fret will be index. 16th fret of the 1st string will be ring. 15th fret of the 2nd will be middle. And then in measure 41, it gets really fun. We walk up 14, 16, and then we have a pinch of thumb on open 3, index on 1st string 17th fret. It's an octave, it sounds beautiful. And then we're almost finished, but pause the video and annotate, scribble, whatever you need to do to make sure you're catching all of these fingers and positions. Let me talk through the rest, and then we're going to play the second phrase. So here I am. I'm going to tell you about measure 42. I have ring finger on 14, middle on 13 in measure 42, which means I'm back in 12th position, which works out great because in the next measure I need to play 12th fret. And then I made a note to myself, measure 44, I jump back down to that bar chord at the 7th fret, 7th position, and do something we did early on in measure 31. 9 to 7 pull off. And this is where you need to make sure you play all of measure 45. hands in a funny shape. That gets us to the end of the D section. Now next, I'm going to play the second phrase of the D section with the click. But please, rewatch this explainer part of this with the second phrase where I talked about phrases, when I talked about frets and fingers and positions. And I have my music just scribbled with notes. Like I've got stuff all over the page, like notes to self. And as long as you can still see the actual banjo notes, there's really not too much you could do to inform yourself. So the next part of the video is going to feature me playing the second phrase of the D section with the click. When you're ready for that, keep going. I'm going to do a 6-beat count in. Phrase 2 of the D section. 1, 2, 3, 4, ready, play. Let's do one more. There's one moment in that I didn't like. I'll do a 6-beat count in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So satisfying. Now, if that felt hard, then it's true. This is incredibly difficult. This is the most difficult 2-finger piece I have ever encountered. I spent almost a year trying to tab it out correctly, like accurately transcribe it, as a lot of you know, and I'm still learning it. So this series is a chance for me to figure out how to play it. My goal, don't tell anyone, my goal is at the end of all these lesson videos that I will be able to play it all the way through and maybe post a video of Matt trying the whole thing the way we learned it, but I'm not there yet. I'm going through this incrementally just like you are. The next thing in this video will be us playing the whole D section, so both phrases at 70 on the metronome, and then the final piece will be to add it to the A, B, and C. All right, let's try the whole D section just once, but you can always jump back and redo this section of the video a million times. Whatever helps. I put the chapters in the video so that you can do that more easily. Here we go. Good luck. 1, 2, ready, go. Here's the second phrase. We did it. Did you do it? I barely did it. Last part of the video is going to be putting the A, B, C, and D sections together. All right, we're back at the beginning. Metronome still at 70 beats for the quarter note, and we're going to play A, B, C, and D. Best of luck. Come back to this as many times as you need to before ever venturing into the 5th lesson video. Here we go. Remember, it's a 3-beat count in. We come in on beat 4. 1, 2, 3. B section. C section. Here we go. D section. Here's the big moment. High five. See you next time.